Hari Om. Welcome, everyone. It's wonderful being with all of you in this new way. Even though we're not physically together, seeing your beautiful faces the last few minutes really uplifted my heart. And I feel that we are together on a very deep and profound level. So let me start with a little prayer. May there be peace in the heavens. May there be peace on earth. May the water flow peacefully. May all the forces of nature be restored to balance. May all the creatures be peaceful. May all the people from all faiths and nations learn to live together harmoniously as one universal family. May peace, peace, peace prevail on earth. So I've been asked to speak with you on the topic of finding peace in times of chaos. I think we all know what chaos is right now, quite clearly. So the question is how to find peace in the midst of what we are all experiencing. I think we all are wanting a return to normalcy, stability, knowing that our loved ones are safe and healthy, and feeling like we're not alone, that we're together. Just a technical point. Avi? Okay, thank you. If you can fix my screen, what's happening in front of me? Okay, he disappeared. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to try to give you a few tips about how we can maintain our peace during the weeks and months ahead. And I'll start with a quote by Swami Satchidananda. Do your best and leave the rest.
Hold on, Swami Karunananda. We're getting a little bit of feedback. If you don't mind waiting for a second.
Maintain our peace during the weeks and months ahead. Avi, I have a big sort of Google note on my screen. Could you remove that? Do your best and leave the rest.
Do you hear the feedback? We're getting a little bit of feedback. If you don't mind waiting for a second. Okay, what's on your screen, Swami Karunananda?
There's a big box in the middle that has a note from Google. If you click OK, it should disappear.
Okay, I can't do that on your computer from where I am right now. I could be over there in a minute if you want to wait. I'll run.
Okay, I'll continue. You come over.
Yeah, it looks fine for everyone else. It's just for you that you're seeing it. Everyone else can see you clearly. Okay?
Okay. So what does that mean? Follow the advice that's being given you by your government, by health officials. Do the best you can, and then put worry and fear aside. One thing about worry is if you can do something about a situation, why worry? If you can't do something about a situation, why worry? Worry serves no effective purpose. There's a proverb that goes, worry is like a blind man in a dark alley looking for a black cat that never existed. There's also a quote I like from Kurt Vonnegut, the author, that says, "Worry is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubble gum." Any of you who ever took algebra when you went to school, I think can relate to that. Okay. Thank you. It drains the strength, the confidence, the joy we may have in being able to effectively address a situation. So, do your best and leave the rest. There's an expression, carpe diem, seize the day. Even if we don't know if there will be tomorrow, we have today. Every day we have 15 breaths a minute, 21,600 breaths a day. We can have each inhalation be filled with inspiration, with hope, with positivity, and each exhalation a release of any worry, fear, and resistance. We've been given this day. Let's make the most of it. Swami Satchidananda used to say, faith and fear do not go together. Faith is sometimes thought of as an acronym, F-A-I-T-H, meaning fear absent in the heart. A heart without fear is a heart filled with faith. What does faith mean? Where should we have faith? Even the concept of faith seems almost unthinkable, unimaginable at this time when we're faced with circumstances that overwhelm our understanding, push our hearts to the limit. So what does faith mean? We can have faith in a higher power. We can have faith in certain practices that help us to retain our peace. We can have faith in ourselves, in our own capacity. We can have faith in one another, knowing all the support that we have received from one another over the years. Or we can have faith in the ultimate goodness of the universe. Faith that by coming together, we will indeed have a positive outcome from all that we are collectively undergoing now. And I would say if faith isn't something that naturally is present in our hearts, we can use our will to choose faith. Choose faith. People speak about wearing rose-colored glasses. Well, every morning when we can get up, we can pick up imaginary faith-colored glasses and put them on. We can predispose ourselves to see through the eyes of faith. We all have our own preconceptions, our own temperament, our own mindset that colors the way we see the world. Right now, I think for each of us to help even move this situation to resolution, it's so important to cultivate a positive mindset within. We've come to the situation that we find ourselves in my feeling, due to our collective negativity in the form of greed, in the form of violence, in the form of polarization that has, for years now, disrupted our politics, economics, our society, our religious life, everywhere. Even the earth itself has been thrown out of balance. So what we need now, more than anything, is for the spirit of positivity, of hope, of kindness, of compassion, of love to fill our hearts and then flow to one and all. If we created something, we have the power to create something else. We are so much more powerful than we realize. It makes me think of a story that I once heard from an early incarnation of the Buddha. In this story, he was born as a little wild bird in the forest. He was a happy little bird. And then one day, a storm came and a bolt of lightning hit a tree and set it on fire. And pretty soon, the whole forest was ablaze. So the little bird ran all over, flew to creature, telling them, go to the river, go to the river. The forest is on fire. Save yourself. And many animals made it to the river to safety, but many could not, and they were choking, trapped by the flames and the smoke. So the little parrot thought, what can I do? What can I do to help all the animals? So the idea came. He flew to the river, immersed himself totally in the water, flew out, and then flew to the different animals, and then just shook his little wings. So those precious little drops of water fell onto the flames. And he kept doing that, to the water, then back to the flames, to the water, back to the flames. Of course, from a practical perspective, what was he accomplishing with these few drops of water? Absolutely nothing. But what happened was his peculiar behavior caught the attention of some divine beings in the heavenly realm. And one of those beings was very interested and took the form of a big golden eagle and came down and began to fly in tandem with the little bird. To the river, to the flames, to the river, to the flames. And at one point, the eagle said to the bird, little bird, why are you doing this? You aren't accomplishing anything. Please go, save yourself. And the bird said, at a time like this, I don't need advice, either help or get out of my way. And he continued to fly back and forth in what seemed like a fruitless mission. But what happened is the efforts of this little bird, its full-heartedness, its sincerity, its doing its best in the face of immense obstacles, attracted the grace. And that great divine being began to cry. And as its tears fell, the flames were extinguished. Beyond that, the earth itself was healed. Beyond that even, all the animals were restored to life. The efforts of one small, tiny being saved all the creatures and the earth itself. So I'm saying this as a message of hope and encourage and motivation to let each and every one of us know, to help myself remember at this time, that even if we're isolated in a little corner somewhere, even if we think, what can I do? What will my little efforts avail? We don't know the ripple effects and the powerful forces that we are setting in motion. It makes me think of that young girl, Greta, from Sweden, I believe, who was moved, motivated, activated by the climate crisis, and just sat outside the parliament one day in protest, begging leaders to get it together and make the necessary changes. One little girl who was autistic as well, in a country that few people probably have even visited. One little girl set ablaze a movement that has overtaken the world, I think it's the collective negativity and sort of poor actions that have brought about this unbalance in weather extremes, and now this crisis in the form of this alien invader, in the form of a little virus, and that we haven't changed our actions, but Mother Nature has finally heard the cries of the children who have gathered in millions all around the globe. And in a way, humanity has been grounded. Instead of parents grounding their children for misbehavior, our collective humanity has been grounded by Mother Nature so that we can reflect on what is happening, what the causes are, and really commit to making changes. I saw a little while ago a meme that someone sent me. It was a picture of the earth, and then across it there was some, I guess it was police tape, the yellow tape, and on it was written the words, "Closed for repairs." And it's amazing what's happening. In a short amount of time, comparatively, the earth is healing itself. I'm sure you've all seen photos of China, photos of India, where the sky has been yellow and brown for I don't know how many years, and now it's blue. Just given a little time, that tremendous healing of the earth is happening. I read an article the other day about how the great pandas, that couple in Hong Kong that they've tried to get to mate for a decade, has finally come together in the peace and the privacy that is now available to them. So it's a time of healing midst all the suffering, midst all the crisis. Ultimately, it will be a time of renewal when we come out the other side. So we can stay strong in the faith that ultimately we will prevail, we will surmount this challenge, we will find solutions, and we will move forward stronger and acting in a more righteous way with greater gratitude and love in our hearts for what we have in one another and in this beautiful world that's been given us as our home. The Sanskrit word for faith is Shraddha. It doesn't mean an emotional or sentimental feeling. Shraddha means conviction backed with action. You believe something and then you act accordingly so it can manifest in the best ways possible. I think one thing that could inspire us at this time is to keep in mind and to focus on all the good that's happening in the world. The other day, I read a news article out of the UK that the government put forth a call for volunteers to help in this crisis, and more than 750,000 people responded. That's almost 1 million people came forward to help one another. I saw on the news last night footage of an emergency room doctor who had fallen ill to the virus himself, had recovered, and this was his first day back. As soon as he was able, he returned to the emergency room to serve patients and help them recover too. And as he entered, the entire staff in the emergency room gathered to applaud him. And he immediately dismissed the applause. And he said, "This isn't a time for applause. This is the time to get back to work. We have work to do." All the people in the front lines of the healthcare professions, unbelievable. Every day, getting up, going into an environment, putting themselves at risk. The sacrifice, the service, the courage, the generosity that is showing up is so encouraging and inspiring. Years ago, I saw a science fiction movie called Contact. Maybe some of you saw it. It's one of the classic science fiction movies now. And one of the lines spoken by an alien invader at the time was, "Humanity is a very interesting species. When things are at their worst, you are at your best." Something inside us gets triggered. It's like the darkness calls forth the light. That light just shines ever brighter when we get challenged to our core. It's like when things are just going along sort of so-so, sometimes there's a tendency to almost sleepwalk through life. But when things become stark, when the darkness seems ascendant, the light within is triggered, activated, awakened. And this brings us to the next thing we can do to find our peace in times of chaos, which is go deep in our practice. This is the time to say, well, it's too much. I can't calm my mind. I'm not even going to try to meditate. It isn't the time to say, well, I have too many things that I've neglected for years and I have to do them now. Now is the time to say, it's non-negotiable. Every day, first thing when I get up, I'm going to sit to meditate. Make a resolution. 15 minutes twice a day would be great. If that seems like too much, set the least amount of time that your mind can possibly find an excuse and say, I don't have that much time to spare. Even if it's only 5 minutes, Make a firm resolution. Before I do anything today, I am going to sit and center myself, pray, meditate, do some self-inquiry, whatever method resonates with your heart. Find your center, establish yourself in the peace and balance within. What you do first thing when you arise makes a deep, deep impression, and you'll carry it with you throughout the day. If any of you have ever awakened to a clock radio, you know this truth. If you get up in the morning to sha na 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 na, etc. What are you doing all day long? Are you saying your mantra? Probably not. You're chanting sha na 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 na. Better to say Om Shanti than Shanana. The first thing you do, it's like the mind is like a blank slate and it gets engraved deeply. That peace will see you through whatever challenges life may present, and it will make you more able to be an instrument for peace for others, which is so, so necessary. Better to have a small resolve with tremendous commitment than a big resolve with a little bit of commitment. Even small resolve with big commitment will plant a good seed that will go deep and bear fruit. Same thing with your Hatha Yoga, especially to boost the immune system now. Hatha Yoga and especially pranayama. Even if you say, oh, maybe I don't want to do the Hatha Yoga, or I don't have the time, or I just don't feel motivated. Pick the least amount, even one asana that you can't possibly find an excuse that you can't do it. Because the trick is, it's not so much doing the practices. Once you start them, they feel so good that habit kicks in. The resistance comes, from my observation, from sitting down on the cushion and rolling out the mat. Once you do that, everything else just flows. So make a small resolve, firm commitment, and your practice will grow from there. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And the final thing I would recommend, so do your best and leave the rest. Don't worry. Faith and fear don't go together. Really find the faith within you, whatever form that may take, and use it as a steering wheel as you move through life. Third, focus on seeing the good in what is happening and what other people are doing, in the courage, in the sacrifice that you see being demonstrated all over the globe. Fourth, go deep in your practice. And fifth, as best you can, from where you are sheltered in place, reach out and serve others. The best way to forget our own burdens and lift our hearts is to think of others and do what they can to lift their burdens. The Tirukkural, a scripture from South India, states, it is difficult to get in the land of the gods or on earth anything as good as service to humanity. There was once a man who didn't live a very good life. He passed away and he awoke to this extraordinarily joyful, celebratory type of place. There was partying and feasting going on 24/7 everywhere. And he thought, wow, I didn't live a very good life. I never expected to wind up here. And for several weeks, he had a very jolly time. But then he began to get bored. And he went to the gatekeeper of the place and said, I'd like some work to do. I want to make a contribution. I'd like to be able to do something meaningful. I'm tired of all this partying and playing. And the gatekeeper said, well, there is no work here. And the man said, I don't think you understand me. I want to work. I want to do something to benefit others. And the gatekeeper said, yes, I understand you quite well, but there is no work here. And the man said, well, I don't understand that. I thought in heaven I would be able to do what I wanted to do and I would be happy. And the gatekeeper paused and said, what makes you think this is heaven? That's what. You know, they say for babies, the primal need is touch. We need touch to survive and to thrive. I think that continues as we move through life, but as we come into adulthood, there's something just as important to us, and that is to feel that our lives have a meaning, that what we do is valued, that we have a role to play, a contribution to make in the world. And whether that contribution be just to smile at someone you pass when you're out on your daily walk, or give a call to now to lift their spirits, to bring groceries or medicines to someone who can't leave their home, whatever it is, it has meaning, it has importance, it is valued and appreciated by others. And like that little parrot, those little efforts made by all of us, they collect and form a tremendous force for transformation in this world. My favorite quote from Swami Satchidananda is, with every minute, every breath, every atom of your bodies, repeat this mantra: dedication, dedication, giving, giving, loving, loving. That is the best yoga that will bring us permanent peace and joy. This is a time where the whole earth and all of humanity are in a tremendous crucible of transformation. It's a time to let go of past grievances, of unnecessary attachments, of all the baggage that has been cluttering, overshadowing our hearts, our lives, and our energy, and the way we deal with one another. This is through all the loss, all the grief, and all the suffering everyone is facing now. It is also an opportunity to meet that challenge, to do what we can. Each and every one of us are equally important in this regard. Do what we can do to transform the world and restore it to the beautiful home that it once was for all of us. And I would just like to say, when we emerge from this crisis, and with all our efforts and prayers, we can have the hope and the conviction that it will be sooner rather than later. When we emerge and look back on this time, let us be able to feel in our hearts that we faced it with courage, with love, with compassion, with loving kindness, with the spirit of service, trust, and acceptance of that higher will, so that as we move forward, we can all do so with full joy and freedom of heart. So I guess those are the words I have to share with you right now. And I was asked to do a little visualization or pranayama with you. When I glance up, I'm looking at the clock here. I think I'll just spend a few moments in a pranic healing visualization, a visualization of our physical body and our mental, emotional body, to boost our immunity and to uplift our spirits. So I would invite you to check your posture. Close your eyes. And then take a few focused, deep breaths. With each inhalation, feel like you're filling yourself with healing energy. With each exhalation, feel like you're releasing any toxins or tensions in the system. Feel like you're surrounded by an infinite ocean of healing prana, divine energy. And as you inhale, feel it fill you. As you exhale, release anything undesirable. Now we're going to use the power of thought to heal, to restore ourselves. We're going to use the different forces of nature. Visualize yourself surrounded by a vast ocean of healing waters. Divine energy in the form of water, charged with magnetic healing energy. Now feel that energy, that divine healing water, entering through the top of your head and flowing down your body, coursing through the body, flowing out the soles of the feet. As it travels down the body, if there are any toxins or tensions anywhere, feel as if the water is gathering them up, collecting them, and then carrying them out through the soles of the feet. Pure, healing energy in the form of water flowing through your system, cleansing, purifying, flowing out the soles of the feet. And now we'll go deeper to the mental, emotional body. Feel as if the essence of that water is flowing through your emotional body, filling it, purifying it, relieving, releasing any excess heat in the form of impatience, irritability, or anger. Feel this calming, healing balm of soothing water, eliminating all the excess fire that's destabilizing your system. Now we'll invoke the healing gift of light. Feel yourself surrounded by a vast expanse of light. Feel this light enter through the top of your head, flow down the body, and flow out through the soles of your feet. A continual stream of radiant energy, rejuvenating, restoring every cell, every tissue, every organ of your body, bringing you back to perfect health, optimal vitality. A continual stream of radiant light flowing through you. Now feel this light enter the mental, emotional body. Feel it go where any thoughts of depression or despair may lurk. Let it illuminate the spirit within you. And finally, feel yourself surrounded by all the holy saints and sages, all the divine beings. Feel like they're showering their blessings upon you. Feel like as their blessings flow through you, balance is being restored to all the systems within your body. You are protected. You are connected. Everything is being restored to peace and balance and ease. And now affirm to yourself with all conviction, I am an embodiment of perfect health and vitality. I am supported, nourished, and protected always. All love surrounds me, fills me, and flows from me to one and all. May the entire universe be filled. May all beings everywhere be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace be unto all. Please open your eyes. And I understand now that there's time if anyone would wish to ask any questions. It's challenging to speak in a vacuum and not know what exactly is in your hearts now. So I really earnestly encourage you to share with us what you're feeling and ask any questions that you might have.
Ishwara, please.
Hari Om Swamiji, this is Ishwara from International
Hi, Ishwara.
How are you?
Good.
Really good to see you today. I wanted to just share my deepest gratitude to have you over today, hearing the story about the bird and do what you can. It's such an inspiration. Your words were such an inspiration and are very well needed today. So I wanted to thank you so much for coming in and sharing your words with us today. And please continue, coming in and share more of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make a note too, if you prefer to write your question in the chat box, I'll be monitoring that as well. Okay, Yolanda.
Swamiji, thank you very much for such an inspiring talk. I'm very honored to be here in your presence and join this wonderful family that we're all in the integral yoga. I'm very blessed to have followed the path of Swami Satchidananda, our Guru Deva. And thank you. It's really, really been inspiring, and I'm very blessed to have been here today and being present in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda.
And if you are trying to raise your hand, please keep your hand raised as I'm scrolling through. Okay. Is it Maria?
See? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Hari Om to everyone. Swami Karunananda.
Hi, Maria.
Hello.
Where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Milano
Milan.
with my family.
Yes.
Thank you for your words, and it's incredible how really I'm feeling we are a spiritual family together. And I don't think it's technology, but it's like I feel you so close, your words and your guidance. I really want to thank you, and thank you everybody, also the director that is managing this meeting. And I have a question.
Sure.
I don't feel sad or extremely worried. Of course, there is a part of me which has a big sorrow for all the death that, all the bodies that we are losing, especially here in Milano, in Italy. There's, we had so many people who passed away. And I think also for, yes, I made a vote to try to keep my practice daily, both meditation and hatha yoga. And it's not easy for me, the rubbing and scrubbing with the family, because we live all together. So I don't know if you have any suggestion for this small challenge compared to what doctors are doing, but also it's intense because it's 24 hours on 24.
I'll share. I'm going to make a very personal sharing now, okay? What I decided to do at the beginning of this crisis. I know what you're saying. You might think we don't have a family situation here the same way, but let me tell you, the monks at the monastery, we have a dozen people there, pretty much confined to one building 24/7 now, except for our daily walk. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to have a reason to sort of validly come out to be with all of you now, but most of the time, and we have lived together for decades together. We work together, play together, pray together, eat together. So it's very much like a family situation. So the rubbing and scrubbing goes on there as well. And it gives you, one thing the rubbing and scrubbing does that I have found, it gives you an opportunity to see more clearly what has yet to be sort of corrected in oneself, the things in ourselves that are not as we would like them to be, or not as we think we could be. We might have our image of who we are, you know, our better self, and then when we watch how we interact with people, we see someone else sometimes manifest, and especially in a crisis, everyone's nerves get a little frayed, the stressors are greater on everyone. So at the beginning of this crisis, I looked at myself and I had a conversation with God, with the invisible presence that I feel is always with us. And I said, I don't know if you're going to use this crisis as an excuse to take me home to you, if this is going to be my ticket home. I don't know that. If that's the case, then that is your will, so be it. But I said, I have one prayer, one request of you. Please give me some time to be able to address those things in me that I know need improvement, that I want to see become sort of more worthy in your sight. And I said, I don't expect to perfect them overnight. I don't expect, I mean, something that's a lifetime in the making usually doesn't change overnight. But give me enough time to work on them so when I do come to you, whether sooner or later, my heart will be a little lighter being in your presence in that way. So that has helped me in seeing that the rubbing and scrubbing is not about their imperfections. The rubbing and scrubbing is about the jagged edges in me that get triggered by the jagged edges in them. Do you know what I'm saying? So it helps to make this being in such close quarters and all that stirs up as an opportunity for profound spiritual work, for transformation, and an offering to those around us. And as I said earlier, to the world at large. If we can transform ourselves a little bit, it's going to make a huge difference It'll make a huge difference for your family if you can just restrain when you get triggered and activated and come forth with a different response. It'll probably transform them. It's sort of contagious. This is a good contagion. When we do that, other people sort of subtly get the message, wow, something new's happening here, and it awakens something in them as well. I hope that's helpful.
Swamiji, a couple questions coming from the chat now. One is a request. Can you please list the 5 bullet points made in your summary?
Let's hope I still remember them. Okay. 1, do your best and leave the rest. And what are we leaving? We're leaving all the worry and fear that serve no good purpose and that drain our strength and positivity to move forward. So do your best and leave the rest. 2, faith and fear don't go together. Cultivate faith. If it isn't natural for you, choose faith. Choose to see the world through faith-colored glasses. We speak about seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. Every morning, reach over to your night table and pick up an imaginary pair of faith-colored glasses. Put them on. This will give you an anchor to help you through whatever challenges the day may present. 3rd tip, focus on the good that is being made more apparent in this crisis. How people are rising to extraordinary heights through courage, generosity, sacrifice, and service, and try to emulate that to the best of your ability in your own life. 4, go deep in your practice. In integral yoga, we speak about be easeful in your body, peaceful in mind, thereby having a useful life. For an easeful body, hatha yoga every day, pranayama every day. If you can, get some exercise every day and watch your diet. Don't get into food as entertainment. Someone sent me a meme. It had day 1 of the quarantine in one frame, and this woman reaching into the refrigerator, and she was very thin, very trim. Then it had a second frame, day 30 in quarantine. Same woman, same refrigerator, around 30 pounds heavier. Don't do that to yourself. Healthy body, hatha yoga, exercise, good diet, peaceful mind. Every day, center yourself through prayer, meditation, self-reflection. And then useful life, which brings us to the 5th point. As best you can, where you are, reach out to others in service. Lift your own burden by turning your attention away from the small world defined by who you are. Expand it to others, others who are around you now physically, others who you can reach through different media, others who you hear about that you can reach in your heart through prayer. So those are the 5 tips.
Thank you so much. Do we have time for a couple more, or how are we doing?
I do.
A couple more, okay. Tatwan, okay, please share.
Hello, Tatwan. This is Swami Karunananda. I'm a big fan of yours. And I have all your YouTube videos clipped, and I turn them on every now and then just to clear away the darkness. Your perspective on all this is really wonderful. But I think Svadhyaya is such an important part of a daily practice, and I read this book every day. Can I see myself?
Your video is off right now. Lower left corner should be start video.
In the left corner? don't understand. Okay, I don't understand. Okay, but anyway, this book, I read a little bit about every day from Swami Satchidananda. It's so important, I find, to keep my attention, focus my attention on these words. And then the sutras, I studied this book for a long time, and then I found this book for the sutras, but then you wrote this book, and I want everyone to get this book if they're interested in studying the sutras. It's The Awakening. It's such an amazing book. And then the Gita, I spend a little bit of time every day reading these books before I do my asana and pranayama. And there's one quote in here, chapter 10, verse 11, Krishna saying to Arjuna, "Because I am compassionate, I dwell in your heart, and from there I remove the darkness of ignorance with the light of wisdom." And I just keep that in mind all the time. I just wanted to draw attention to your book because it's such an amazing thing. I don't really have a question. But thank you very much for all your inspiring words. You're the most eloquent guru a spiritual teacher I've ever experienced, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatwan. Where are you, Tatwan?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Okay.
I took my teacher training from Jivana Heyman. I think you came to our class one time. We met there.
Yeah.
I love your videos. I recommend your videos. If you need some inspiration to clear away the darkness, just go to YouTube and search for Swami Karunananda, and there are half a dozen videos there, I think. It just clear it away. And just, I can see the kingdom of heaven on earth before my eyes. I go back to that. That's my meditation. Just see it that way, and it's so.
Thanks so much, Tatwan. Okay, Cynthia.
Namaste, Swamiji. It's Chandra.
Chandra.
Hi, Chandra.
Hi. So nice to see you and so nice to hear your voice. And thank you so much for your kind words. I'm always connected with the ashram, as you know, because of Jayan.
Yes.
But seeing your face and seeing everyone, some of the other people are new in the ashram is really nice. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And bless you.
Thank you, Chandra. Looking forward to when you can visit again.
I miss you all so much, even though I'm connected all the time with the ashram, because I'm connected all day with Jayan, and I can see the ashram on the TV, on the phone, but it's not the same. I will be back one day.
Good, good. And let me extend an invitation to everyone. When we've come out the other side of this, please, when you can, please come visit so we can not only embrace virtually, but physically our hearts can come together and we can gaze into one another's eyes and just share the joy of fellowship. Please come. We all miss you very, very much.
Swamiji, give a love to all the Swamis there.
I will.
Miss them all.
I will.
Thank you, Chandra. Okay, question from, I believe it's Parvati in Italy. It seems to me that we need to make a jump in our ability to communicate on a higher level. I'm not talking about telepathy, but to improve how our relation between our higher selves. How can we train ourselves effectively?
Parvati, are you meaning communicate with the higher self within ourself? Or communicate with the higher self in others? Maybe clarify.
Let's see if okay, Parvati, you're unmuted.
Okay. Ciao,
Parvati.
Nanda. I'm so happy to see you.
How are you?
I'm
How are
very
you
well.
doing?
I'm very well. The energy is high, but I mean, up and down, of course. We are at our 4th week closing the house.
Yeah.
So, but we are hanging there. I was thinking that you may know who was asking this question. Well, it's difficult to explain, but it's something that since this time happened, I'm deeply thinking about how we can communicate, which has nothing to do, I think, with telepathy, but on a higher level, because okay, now we are lucky we have this technology, but what if we don't, or it's broken, or whatever? So I do believe that this period is also a good period to try to train ourselves.
Mhm.
And I know that meditation or all what you listed is what we need to do. But I wonder, because I know your energy is so subtle, and I'm sure you can give us some hints on how to communicate or how to train ourselves to communicate with our higher selves.
What I'm going to say is not mystical at all, but very practical, and I think very real, and something most people could relate to. I think every mother knows the answer to this question. A mother knows, can communicate with their child. If their child is going through a crisis, is going through distress, something in the mother's heart knows. It's like the invisible, subtle chords that connect us begin vibrating. And when it comes from one's child, that vibration is strongly felt in the heart. Mothers can do that. So the point is, it's not like it's a special, this is my experience anyway, it's not like a special skill that we learn with our minds, but it's something that naturally occurs when our hearts open more in love toward individuals and toward people in general. That communication happens through love. I'll tell you something. This is just a tiny little experience that I had that I'm recalling to demonstrate this. My physical parents weren't totally happy with the monastic yogic path I chose. This was back in the 70s. It was really weird back then to do something like this. So they stopped communicating with me. I lived in California, they lived in New York, no communication for years. One day, I spoke to Gurudev, asked him for permission to take pre-sannyas. He gave permission. The next day, my mother calls me. Number one, I don't know how she reached me. I was living in Lake County, California. We didn't have personal phones. She had to go through a whole sort of telephone line of connections before she even reached me. I get on the phone. She hasn't spoken to me in years, has no idea what I'm doing. And she goes, this is the first words out of her mouth. What just happened? I said, what are you talking about? She said, what just happened? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, I know something big just happened to you, and I want to know what it is. So I told her I'm going to take monastic vows and all that. My mother had never gotten on a plane in her life. She was afraid to fly. So I just told her that, and she said, okay, I'll be there tomorrow. And I don't even know how she got there. Where we had the ashram in Northern California, it was almost impossible to find. But she and my father flew out the very next day, came to Lake County, California. That's what. That's how people connect. And she's not unusual. I think mothers everywhere can attest to that. I think sometimes, in fact, when we try to do it with our mind, our egos that are always ready to hijack any spiritual progress that happens and claim it for themselves are ready to jump on board and say, look at what I can do now. I mean, the more advanced we get, the more subtle the practice, the trickier the ego is to claim it as its own. So this sort of thing, when it comes from the heart, the benefit too is there's no way for the ego to dig in. It's just a heartfelt connection. Like if you have a dear friend who suddenly is in an accident, who has a tragedy, sometimes you think, I gotta call someone. Out of the blue, you think, I should check in on them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's helpful at all. And I think crises like this, where we don't have normal ways of connecting, one of the things that happens, it forces us to connect on a deeper level because we have no alternative. We have no option. We can't go out. So almost as a last resort for some of us, especially those of us who are more extroverted, we can't go out. So as a last resort, we go in and we connect at a deeper, higher level.
Okay, I think one final question, Swamiji. Okay.
Okay.
Svetlana.
Thank you. Swami Karunananda, it's so nice to see you and to listen to you. You touch so many hearts. And when I was taking teacher training, you and many others talk about that we're all connecting. And I thought about that a lot. And these days it became so clear how connected we are. And you personally touch so many hearts, and I always feel connection with you especially. This times is very difficult for many people. I have to say that I teach yoga every day over Skype and try to help people as much as I can. But many people going through very difficult times. And I am personally, my parents died within 1 year. My mother died just 10 years ago. And many people losing their loved ones. So what would be your message to those who are losing people and don't have such tools like I am equipped? Not fully, but at least a little bit thanks to you and others. So what would you suggest them to do when they're losing loved ones?
Well, what I can suggest is what you can do when someone is feeling intense grief. It's not really the time for instruction or advice. What they need most is a caring, comforting presence that is there for them to just listen, support, and when they are ready and ask for it, to give whatever you can. But just to be there with a loving heart, a caring heart, a compassionate heart, and listen, be present, give them the gift of your time and energy. And when there's an opening, when they're looking for something they can do, you can talk a little bit about meditation, about hatha yoga, about pranayama. What's so effective is the pratipaksha bhavana combined with pranayama. Any of you who have ever studied with me, you know how strongly I believe in it, especially combine it with your alternate nostril breathing. Someone is overcome with grief, they can breathe in trust, faith, joy, hope, whatever the word would be for them, whatever the feeling would be. And with the exhaled breath, breathe out the grief, the suffering, the heaviness of heart. Twice a day, every day. Even though it seems inconsequential, it's powerful because the breathing, especially the alternate nostril, balances both hemispheres of the brain. You're oxygenating yourself with fresh energy, and you're super injecting into the subconscious mind, reprogramming good, positive thoughts and releasing the ones that are burdening your heart. Where are you, Svetlana?
Sorry, 1 second. Svetlana, go ahead.
I'm in Vienna, Austria.
Yeah, in Austria.
Yeah, best wishes. I miss you so much. Thank you so much for everything, really.
Hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Finally, Lakshmi Kannan wanted to say a few words to the Sangha. Lakshmi?
Hari Om, everybody. It's so lovely to see everyone. Karunananda, you did the most amazing job. Thank you so much. I know it's not easy talking to a screen.
This is
but
my first time.
Expert.
It's such a powerful tool. I want to thank Parvati in Italy. She sent me a WhatsApp like 3.5 weeks ago saying, Swami Ramananda is going to do some talk and meditation and we should make it a weekly thing. And I was kind of in my, kind of like lockdown period and going, oh, what am I doing with my life? And she sort of kicked me into action to initiate this. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lakshmi from Portugal. I'm the one that sends the emails weekly to you all and coordinates with Avi and the ashram and people in Europe. So just thank you all, because it's so amazing for everyone to make the time. Because even in this time, it's so easy to become busy. Some of us are still working, some of us are still, Avi's doing like this amazing job. He's like got, 8 or 9 arms, juggling loads of things at the same time. So it's so important that we all make this time to connect in this way. And, it's a great blessing, I feel, that this has brought us all together in this way. It's in a new way that we've never come together. It's really made us make this effort to unite. So this will be a weekly thing now for as long as we keep getting speakers. And I vote Swami Karunananda to talk again. So thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you.
Okay, and specifically, I wanted to mention that Swami Shogananda will be speaking next week, and I believe it will be at the same time. So feel free to tune in for that. Swami Karunananda, thank you so much again. I can't tell you right now how many comments are coming in through the chat expressing deep gratitude to you. So really appreciate the time on behalf of everyone. Would you like to lead us in closing slokas?
Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.